Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Book Talk. I'm going to be talking more about the book 1776 today. It's about the American Revolution. In the last episode, I went over basically how the British's biggest weakness was communication, because they had to send messages over the ocean, and that took months to get across the ocean, months to get back, weeks to get an answer to even send a message back. So that was kind of clogging them up, and they end up sitting on their thumbs, not knowing what to do in the meantime. And when I read further in the book, it seems like the British have fixed that issue, and they just basically gave more power to their generals. They have two generals. One's General Grant, and there's also a General Howe. And on the American side, there's General Washington, Sullivan, all those guys. General Knox, Henry Knox, the one who did the Noble Train to get the artillery. And I got to the part where they did the Battle of Long Island. And the Battle of Long Island, the British used the Jamaica Pass in order to flank them and surprise them. And it was actually a humiliating defeat for General Washington, because he never saw that coming. And it really showed his how inept he was as a general when he first started, his inexperience. And it was quite embarrassing for him, because I think something like 500 casualties, something like 400 wounded, 1,000 ended up getting captured and prisoners of war. And it basically crippled his army, because they didn't have a whole lot to begin with. They had a few thousand, I think upwards of 10,000, but when that hit, it would very much demoralize them, because they started to see how much better trained the British are than they were, how much better their artillery was, how much better their aim was, how much better their guns were, just better in every sense of the word. And it was very intimidating for them after that defeat. And also they noticed that the Phoenix and another boat was coming up, which would completely eradicate any chance of retreat. So what General Washington ended up doing was to pack up in the middle of the night and do a stealthy retreat. And it actually worked. Throughout the night, he ended up getting thousands of troops to basically pack up camp, pack up the artillery, move the artillery, and do a retreat without the British even knowing that anything was going on. The British ended up waking up, looking over and noticing, hey, there's no more rebels there. They retreated. And they retreated without any more shots fired. They just expected to wake up and do another attack. Well, General Grant and General Howe celebrated, and they kind of figured the American Revolution was at its end at that point. They were writing home saying, we're going to be home for Christmas, don't worry, the war is almost over. They don't even want to face us anymore. So it's just going to be a matter of time before they know they're in over their heads and they're going to surrender. And it wasn't until they ended up walking into the Americans' former camp they actually noticed why they did that. Then General Grant noticed if they had stayed, the Phoenix would have cut off their retreat, and it would have been a total annihilation. So he commended General Washington on his retreat, his ability to successfully do it stealthily, without the British ever knowing. But he kind of figured still that it was the war was at its end, and they were actually being encouraged to keep running the Americans down. But General Howe decided, no, we don't want another Bunker Hill. They might be in a better fortified area. That's why they ran without a gun being fired. And we might be running into another Bunker Hill where we're going to be completely annihilated. So they stopped the run. And, in this history book, it basically explains that if General Howe had have just continued on and kept running down the Americans, that it would have been a total annihilation. The Americans would have stood no chance. And there would have been no independence for America, or their conquest for freedom would have been completely eradicated right there. So it makes you think back on all the other cases of history or events in history, and think, what would have happened had America been completely wiped out at that point if they stayed a part of the British and were punished for even rebelling? Because I'm Canadian, but I can admit that America has a massive footprint on this world. You just look at what is happening in Ukraine and Russia, and America's hand in that, and how persuasive they can be, because they are still a world superpower, no matter what anybody else wants to believe. And a lot of stuff they did in the past, had they not been there, how it would have worked out. So you just kind of look at it and think, the footprint and the power that their word lends, how different history could be if just America wasn't a thing. It's absolutely insane to think about, because we'd be looking at an entirely different world. America usually gets their hands in everything. So the fact that there wouldn't be American hands to be put in there in the first place, what would have happened? Yeah, it's kind of thrilling to think about in some instances, scary to think about in other instances. But this has been another episode of Book Talk. I'm going to keep reviewing this book, and I will keep putting out videos as I read and finish this book. I don't have too much more to go. But thank you for watching. I have people constantly telling me that I need to do more videos. I am trying. It's just with a job, a side gig, putting out new YouTube videos, constantly trying to keep up on my Twitter feed, and posting and talking to people, writing my book, going into skilled trade school to get into skilled trade, get my AZ license, which in Ontario is a license where you can drive tractor trailers, air brake endorsement. All this stuff has taken up an intense amount of time. Once I get my license, I'll have a lot more free time available, but until then, I will just keep trying my best. Thank you very much for watching another episode of Book Talk. Hit like, subscribe, and comment on the video. I'll reply to every comment, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.